Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily for December 4th, 2025. I'm Dave DuFour here with Zena Keita. Coming up, we got a Murray flurry for the Denver Nuggets. They picked up a win against the Pacers. We're going to talk about that a little bit. The Mavs look pretty good. We're going to talk about their rookies. And we've got Nehm here to talk about the latest on Giannis and the Bucks. And man, it's getting sad. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Zena?
What up, Dave? How are you?
Not too bad. All right. At some point, guys, I promise you, we're going to get good games on the nights that are not NBA Cup. As soon as this Cup thing gets all sorted out, we're going to have some normal nights with some actual real matchups with some meat on them. Last night, like Zena, another weird night, and maybe we're just too in the weeds every single night, but from a matchup perspective, not a lot happening, right? No great games, no real narrative storylines outside of the Clippers and all the crazy stuff, which they did win, and we'll talk about for 2 seconds because they're bad and it's not that interesting. But everything's weird right now.
Yeah, things are very weird. On the Clippers front, though, let's be real. Yes, Chris Paul left. That does not necessarily mean because they won right after his departure that he was the source of all things bad.
Right.
If we remember correctly, the Denver Nuggets won the day after Mike Malone was fired. And if we remember even more recently, Chauncey Billups was arrested and the Portland Trailblazers won the very next night. So let's not put too much clout into
let's just remind everybody that Chauncey Billups was arrested in case you guys forgot. All right. Hey, look, let's talk some hoops. The Nuggets, they had a get-right game last night against the Pacers, right? Pacers having a sad season. This is a game that the Nuggets not just had to win, they were going to win, right? Especially after the embarrassing loss that they had the other night. Jamal Murray, it's not even a flurry when he puts up 52. That's a blizzard. Jamal Murray was 10 of 11 from three, 52 points, still had 6 rebounds. He has had a great start to the season, Zena. And, we'll talk about Jokic, who did not have a triple-double, didn't need it. What Jamal Murray has done to start the season is exactly what we said needed to happen for this team. And we didn't realize they were going to be down 2 starters at this point of the season, right?
Right.
Him scoring 52, right? This needs to be something that he just has in his back pocket when they need it. When Jokic looks tired like he did in that loss the other night, they need Jamal Murray. And so far this season, he has looked like an all-star that he needs to be. And frankly, they are not as good as they are right now unless he's having the season that he has.
1,000%. And I'm really happy you brought up what Jamal Murray needs to be in comparison or in tie with Nikola Jokic. Because I think last night after the game, Rick Carlisle called Jamal Murray one of the most underrated players in the league. And when you think about why is someone like Jamal Murray, someone that helped usher a championship to Denver, someone that is putting up the numbers that we've seen, I mean, in all of NBA history, there's only been one more guard that has had as many games with 50-plus points with as good as shooting from the floor as Jamal Murray has had. That is Michael Jordan. Okay. Yeah. Why is someone like that getting the underrated label? And I really think it does go back to the 2023 finals when even the playoff run, when multiple games throughout multiple series, you saw Jamal Murray score under 20 points, score under 15 points. And it was it felt as if Jokic had to do so much more to make up for Jamal Murray's kind of hesitance on the offensive end or inability to create. But I think a lot of folks are still anchored to that idea of that Jamal Murray, and forgetting that this is a guy that put up 50 points in playoff series, that put up 40 points in playoff series, that can absolutely create. And last night was a masterclass of what he does. Go off the dribble. I mean, so clean of going off the dribble. The 2-man game with Nikola Jokic and him right now for all 2-man lineups in the NBA. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. If anyone's played 400 minutes or more, they're number 1.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, if you look at all the 2-man lineups in the NBA that have played 300 minutes or more, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic are part of 4 of the top 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
that's how it ought to be.
And
right?
it should be,
it's the
right?
best player in the world. Yeah.
Exactly. But like it's Jamal Murray being able to showcase just how good he is at every single type of scoring. Step back, being able to snake off the dribble, being able to reject screens, shot fake, side dribble, you name it, he had it in his bag last night. And you'll appreciate this, Dave, ethical hoops.
Yeah.
Okay. Ethical hoops, the way that he was able to play this game, not only get 52 points, he also had 0 fouls on defense. And I don't want to skip over that.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
But
because
I don't want to skip over that, especially with the people he was guarding. I mean, he had help. Don't get me wrong. Denver, they cover him pretty well too, but he was going up against Mathurin, against Nembhard, against Siakam, and they weren't getting easy buckets on him.
Right. Well, he can guard, and he's kind of solid, right? Like, so even these bigger guards, like he's not a huge guy, but he's pretty thick, and so he's able to hold up defensively, and he has his moments. Like, he's not like an awful defender, but this team needs him to be a decent defender, which we do see at times, but they need it without Christian Braun. They need it without Aaron Gordon, and if he's not going to be a decent defender, he has to be a great scorer. Not just a good scorer, a great scorer. He has to be 30 a night, 35 a night, some nights, right? Like, because they have to make up for that. And look, they put up 135 on the Pacers. It feels like right now 130 is kind of their magic number. That's where they're playing a lot of their games. They're hovering around there. If they score 130 first, they're going to win. That's not a great way to be, though. So, like, they've just got to get through this stretch.
Talk to the Chicago Bulls about that.
That's right. They got to get through this stretch without Brown and Gordon. And but the thing is, you know, again, and we talked about this a little bit, like there's some found money here for them. Spencer Jones, who, you know, he didn't have a great game last night. He only took one shot, but he had a great game the night before. They need this newfound depth that they're running themselves into, and the reps for these other guys too. Christian Braun, Aaron Gordon, they fit right in. We know what this team looks like at full strength. This is, I think that by the time we get to March, April, we're going to look at this stretch. As long as everyone's healthy, then we're going to look at this stretch as a little bit of, maybe not a blessing, but not the worst thing to happen to the Nuggets, right? Like, you get through this.
Absolutely. Giving guys reps, giving guys the opportunity to see how they fit. I mean, especially for me, as you mentioned, putting up 130 points, like, we know what they're capable of. Whenever you have Nikola Jokic on the floor, you know you're going to be able to have some productivity there. And we know that Jamal Murray can create. Even if he's not scoring, he's going to give you 8, 9, 10 assists. But Christian Braun has been gone 10 games. Aaron Gordon's been gone 6 games. They're not a great defensive team. When they were there as a full over the season, they've been 19th in the league in terms of defensive rating. In the last 10 games since Christian Braun's been gone, they've been 29th in defensive rating. In the last 5 games with Aaron Gordon and Christian Braun gone, they've been 30th in defensive rating. So they've just they're considerably worse. And so
can't get any worse. That's the bright side.
You can't get any worse, right? You not only want these role players to be able to come in and score points, it's also a matter of, like, how are you going to help with those on-off minutes? How are you going to help from a defensive perspective to keep the ship afloat and not let teams that can score the ball just relentlessly drive up to the basket and get the baskets that they want? So I really do think that Jamal Murray, he's just got to get some consistency. That was a problem in 2023. That was a problem. That's been the whole conversation around his game. But as you mentioned, in the midst of him putting up those 52, I'm looking at everybody else. This is your opportunity to get reps. Get ready for the spring next year. How are you going to contribute?
Yeah. Speaking of contributing, the Mavs last night, for the first time since 2019, they had a rookie go back-to-back games with a double-double. I'm talking about Ryan Nembhard, starting point guard for the Dallas Mavericks. How about that?
Yeah.
Speaking of found money, Ryan Nembhard, starting point guard, last 2 games for them. Okay, now the Mavericks have won 3 in a row. Ryan Nembhard started the last 2, averaging 21.5 points, 4 rebounds, 11.5 assists. And we have hammered this point home, Zena, since they attached Cooper Flagg to a point guard. He has been better. Cooper Flagg got to take over the end of this game, Zena, both ends. The Mavericks kind of have something going on. I like how AD looks next to Cooper Flagg. I'm not going to say that Nico had a vision at all. but I see it.
You don't want to give it to him?
Well, no, because you don't get to say I have a vision about winning the number one pick. And trading away Luka Doncic, who is a surefire. He's already a basketball Hall of Famer, not an NBA like necessarily. But yeah, you don't get to pass on that. But man, it's at least fun.
Yeah. And Ryan Nembhard found money, gem. Diamond in the rough. Find all the terms you can say about the fact that they have stumbled upon greatness in Ryan Nembhard. He is so poised. I mean, in those, you talked about the 11.5 assists over 2 games, 10 assists and 13 assists. And in only one of those games, he had a turnover. And in that game, it was 1 turnover.
It's so hard, Zena, not to just compare him to his brother immediately.
I know. That's exactly what I was going to say. This is literally Andrew Nembhard 2.0. And the great part about it is that what's different for Andrew this year is that there is no Tyrese Halliburton. So he's going to have to shoulder more of the offensive role as well as the creation and defense that he's been able to do both sides. In Dallas, Ryan Nembhard has trees around him. All he has to do is make sure that the ball safely crosses over and he keeps his eyes up, which he does. And he was able to he zips passes to Cooper Flagg in the right places. He was able to get folks again, with AD and Cooper Flagg out on the floor. You know that AD is a passing big. You know that AD is someone that can stretch the floor. And you know that Cooper Flagg likes to create off of someone. He was so pivotal tonight. Cooper Flagg being able to play on the wing and utilizing his size to get past folks. And what you can do that when you don't have to worry about the best defender trying to take the ball away from you as you cross half court. Ryan Nembhard got that role tonight, and he was cooking even before you talk about the 13 assists. The way that Jovic, the way that anyone that was trying to get in front of him, his handle is so tight. And he's so confident, and he was just going right by folks. Like, I'm so excited about Ryan Nembhard. I don't know.
I'm assuming their dad maybe taught him how to dribble, but these guys, they have a tight handle. You cannot pick their pocket without fouling them. They don't, like you said, they throw every single pass that they throw is a game pass. Like, there's no lazy pass, period. And I'm glad you brought up passing big. Anthony Davis had a really nice game passing the basketball. Didn't have a lot of assists, but there is a little bit of this big to big stuff with him and Cooper Flagg that if you guys haven't been watching the Mavs, look out for that. Because AD and Cooper Flagg learning to play off of each other is actually kind of interesting.
It's chef's kiss, Dave. It's
the Mavericks are
I'm big on bigs.
Right? Exactly. But the Mavericks are this interesting story because they were so sad to start the year. We maybe have forgotten about them a little bit, but all of a sudden, I don't feel as bad about them as I do the Clippers, the Pelicans, these other teams that are losing without doing it on purpose. The Mavericks, like, their future looks so bright compared to
they're
like
running
3
the
weeks
floor.
ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. We just talked about AD, who had a 17 and 17 double-double last night, right? We've talked about, and I don't want to say ad nauseum, but we have talked about Cooper Flagg in the last 5 games, over 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Like, that's what he's producing. And of course, Ryan Nembhard. But like, Klay Thompson looks great too. Like, he's hitting big shots. Najee Marshall's in the corner, knocking down catch and shoots. Like, everyone's clicking. Max Christie has been a really great wing player. That we saw him do that last year when he was brought over in the trade, have a good start, but then he tapered off a little bit. He's finding himself in the right places alongside Ryan Nembhard. Everything about this team is starting to click. And I do think outside of the basketball, there's something to be said about everything they've had to go through. All the noise they've had to listen to, you can kind of see that they've kind of like coagulated around each other and said, F all that. Let's focus on what we can do out on the floor. And there's already like this camaraderie. They had Caleb Martin on the mic last night, and Caleb Martin wasn't even playing in the game really, but just the way that they talked on the bench about what they're seeing and how they uplift each other. Like, this is if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, you're looking at the bright side here and you're like, this is good. Right. This is good. We're not tanking. We're not taking, and we're not tanking. And there's positive wins happening. 3 wins in a row. Sure. Defense is good. We'll see what happens.
Look, they still need to trade AD away and just reboot around these young guys, but that's a topic for a different day. The fun game.
That's a topic
night.
for in a few weeks.
That's right. I mean, we'll have our trade primer coming out soon. Guys, stick around after the break. We have Eric Nehm late after Giannis went down with a strained calf and asked for a trade request. Man, we're keeping him up late. You know, the NBA is a funny place. You can start your afternoon hearing that your best player has put in a trade request. You can watch him get hurt in the first 3 minutes of a game, and then you can beat the best team in the Eastern Conference if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. Here to talk about it, Eric Nehm. Eric, I'm going to start with a simple question. What is going on?
That's a great question. Many things are going on, and they're all going on at once. And that leads to a wonderful life for a beat writer. Very busy and very fun.
Christmas themed episode.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so I guess like the simplest place to start is going into tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks were 9-13. That's not where they wanted to be. They lost 7 straight games. They won 1 game, which is great. And then they lost to the Washington Wizards. And losing to this year's version of the Washington Wizards is going to create questions for any franchise. And no ill will towards the Washington Wizards. Chris Middleton, great guy, love him. But they're just not a very good basketball team. So if you lose to them, people are going to start asking questions. And they're really going to start asking questions when you are 9-13 and you have one of the best players on the planet. And he looks disengaged and disinterested in parts of a game. Like those things are all going to happen. So I think that to me is like the biggest thing. That's what was going on in Milwaukee heading into Wednesday's game. And then obviously there was the report from Shams Charania at ESPN about, conversations that are starting between the Bucks or continuing between the Bucks. However you want to phrase what conversations exist between the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Those things are happening and everyone's frustrated at the moment. And I think one of the things that we found at our reporting at The Athletic is that, everyone's frustrated. Giannis is frustrated. He would like to win more. He's always made it very clear that competing for championships is what he wants to do. He wants to believe in the team, and that's all great. Doc Rivers is not here for a rebuild. That's not why the Milwaukee Bucks hired Doc Rivers. He was hired to compete for championships and to compete at a high level. John Horst has gotten contract extensions because of his ability to year over year keep the Bucks in the title conversation. At 9-13, that is not occurring. That's not what's happening. So you do end up starting to have to think about, all right, how happy is Giannis? How unhappy is Giannis? How is he feeling about the franchise? And these aren't new questions. After 22 games, the Bucks weren't like, man, I wonder how Giannis is feeling. This is the first time we've ever thought about how Giannis Antetokounmpo might be feeling in this moment. No, they think about it all the time. That's what the franchise is all about. But I think ultimately what this comes down to is how Giannis feels about being here for the season. When the trade rumors started right before the season, he came to us at training camp and said, when I am here, when it says Milwaukee Bucks on my chest, I am here, 10 toes down. That's what I'm here to do. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that this team wins. And those conversations end right here and there. He loved the team. He thought they were going to be dangerous. And at 9-13, they were not. They were not as dangerous as I think he thought they were at the start of the season. And now you have to have these conversations and you have to try to figure out where the team is going this season and what it might look like.
And that's the thing. Like everyone is assessing this as how different is this conversation than the conversation that we heard bubbling up over the course of the summer, where we heard Giannis come out and say words like, I want to be a Knick, hypothetically. Right? There's the conversation of potentially being a Knick playing under the bright lights of New York. How did we get here from that Knicks conversation that was kind of in the background and shutting it down to now it could be bubbling up again?
Yeah, I think it really is as simple as what the team looks like and how they're playing. Like I think one thing that has always been clear to me about Giannis over the years is that when he gets in between the lines, it is about what is going on in between the lines. There's not other motivations. There's not other agendas. It is about, can this team win tonight? And how confident am I in our ability to win tonight? And I'll be honest, in almost every game he plays, I'm sure he's very confident that they're going to win because that is the type of player that he is. But I think when you see the team struggle in the way that they did when he was out for 4 straight games, when you see the team struggle in the minutes when he's not on the floor, I think while you're sitting there and you're on the floor, you're probably wondering, like, okay, what is really going on here? How is this team doing? And that is always going to be a concern. That is always how Giannis is going to judge things. So I think we are still, one of the things we reported, there has been no trade request as of yet. Whether or not these conversations are deeper than normal, unusual during the middle of the season, whatever they may be, Giannis has not requested a trade. He's not demanded a trade out of Milwaukee yet. So that still means the Bucks can do some convincing. And I think tonight, strangely enough, is kind of part of it, right? Like
big win. No, it should be. If losing to the Wizards makes you want to question, hey, what's going on here? Then if you watch Giannis get hurt and you watch the way this team played and rallied, I mean, these guys are fighting. Like, they might not be good, but it's not a lack of effort. And, Doc Rivers, to his credit, it's not like he's lost the team here. This is a talent issue. They just got Kevin Porter Jr. back. They're reintegrating him. He's had 2 good games in a row. So let's talk about this the other way. Because to me, look, Eric, we've done this together for a long time. And we've done this with Giannis, I don't know how many times over the last 4 years. Since the year they've won the title, I feel like once a year we have is Giannis going to ask for a trade? And I don't think he actually wants to. So the Bucks' option is to get better. Is that internal, or is that going out and making some moves? December 15th is coming up, right? Trade season opens up. They don't have a lot in the cupboard to go out and get stuff with. But what if this was hey, look, Giannis, we want to keep you here. He wants to stay. How do they improve? Because this team just doesn't have the talent to compete in the East, much less for a title. Like, they can't be top 4 in the East as they're constructed, maybe not even a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things, right? So on the way out tonight, we were talking to a bunch of players, and Bobby Portis informed us that they had a team meeting today. That before the trade rumors, before all of that, they as a team had gotten together and said, like, we're not meeting our standard. No matter what we're trying to do, we're not meeting our standard right now. And losing games like that to the Wizards is unacceptable. We got to be on the same page, and we got to be together. So I think that's the first thing, right? Like, there is a level of accountability amongst the team in that they know it's not acceptable to lose the game. I think that, to me, was like a good sign that everyone involved was like, all right. And again, this is before, any reports drop or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the team getting together and saying, we need to be better. So first of all, I would say that. Second of all, it's health. I know from the outside, there's lots of skepticism about Kevin Porter Jr. and how good he is at the game of basketball. I saw him drop 30 points against the Washington Wizards. I saw him drop, I believe, another 26 points tonight, 7 assists for him as well. And he is a difference maker. I understand that his past indicates that there could be issues or whatever it may be. He might not have played up to his full potential in other places. He's never been on a good team. All those things are kind of changing right now, and he's showing the world that he might actually be able to keep it together. He might be a good player. So I think that will be the other thing. And then the third thing, like you mentioned, is I do think December 15th is a notable date. That is a time when the whole league starts to think about trading and trying to go out there and do those things. And And I think one thing that stood out to me in Doc Rivers' pregame was obviously he took a bunch of questions about the most recent reports and rumors and all these things. And, he kind of got to a spot where I'll try to paraphrase it, but he's like, guys, let's just call a spade a spade. We're talking about this because we're not winning. Yep. We're struggling right now. So that's why this is a story. If we rattle off 10 in a row, all of a sudden this will magically disappear. That's what happens. And instead of asking, are you going to trade Giannis or what's going to happen there? What you'll be asking is, are you guys going to make a move at the deadline and add someone to try to help us win and help us get to the places that we want to go? And I do think, obviously, that's a nice sales job by Doc. And he's among the most elite salesmen, in the entire league. But there is truth. Part of the reason why a used car salesman can sell you something is there is probably a level of truth somewhere in their statement. And there is some truth to that this team has not been healthy. This team does think it's better than this. And this team knows that it should be better than this. So I think all of those things kind of combine to, obviously, Giannis will always be the most interesting story in the world. Giannis will always be the center of every trade, rumor, conversation, fake trade idea, story, all of that. That is not going anywhere. You mentioned how long we've been doing this together for DuFour. I remember telling someone the other day, this is interesting for me because this is year 8 for me at The Athletic. At the end of year 1 at The Athletic, the Milwaukee Bucks lost 4 straight games in the Eastern Conference Finals. After Game 6 in Toronto, a report came out that Giannis Antetokounmpo was thinking about his future, and he was trying to figure out whether or not he wanted to commit long-term to the Milwaukee Bucks. And that was year 1. And you know what? I've done it in year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now I'm doing it in year 8. And that's not to say he will for sure stay. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that he's always a part of this. This is always the conversation. When your standard is, I want to compete for championships every year, you're going to put your team in a place where there's a certain level of pressure and there's a certain understanding that you're going to do everything in your power as an organization to put him in that position. And as of now, oh my gosh, it's December 4th. Sorry. I just realized it's 12:30 in the morning. Hey guys. But it's a morning show. As of today, the team is 10-13. That's not where they want to be. It's a game better than where they were on December 3rd when we started this conversation. But now they're in a place where they're 10-13 and they're going to try to find their way through it. And I think it's with everyone involved understanding the stakes of the situation. Not that they didn't already understand that, but Wednesday served as a good reminder for everyone that this is what is at stake every single season. Giannis Antetokounmpo is wearing a Milwaukee Bucks jersey.
And now they have to do it
without him. I think we're going to wind up doing this in year 9, by the way. I'm just going to say it right now. We're going to do this next year. I hope he doesn't get moved. I hope he doesn't want to go. I hope they can figure out a way to make it work. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Eric Nehm, thank you so much for hanging out late. Go read him over at The Athletic. Got a big story with Sam Amick laying all this out. Eric, you're the best, definitely the best Bucks writer that we have at The Athletic and that we have on this show. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. Thanks to Zena Keita. I'm Dave DuFour. This has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.